Over the course of the last decade or so, Pixar has established itself as one of the leading conglomerates when it comes to creating animated content that anyone can enjoy. Come hail or sun, we can always expect Pixar to back us up with its quality media, even when it doesn't, as was the case with Pixar's latest, Lightyear. But what was it that caused the movie to fail so badly? Let's talk about it. First up, a first for Pixar. Well, that may not be exactly true, but you have to admit, a Pixar movie flopping doesn't sound like a true phenomenon. Ever since the company's first release way back in the 90s, the corporation has released very few, almost non-existent amounts of duds. Take their latest releases for example, Luca, Turning Red, and Encanto, which performed really well at the box office, because the movies had substance and commendable storylines. That isn't to say that everyone shares the opinion that Pixar has only very rarely released movies with awful storylines. Some staunchly believe that Pixar's earlier works were its best, and over the years, especially after its partnership with Disney, the company has succumbed to the capitalistic nature of the movie industry, putting out films and sequels and spin-offs only to profit off of bad storylines with popular characters. There's a special dislike for sequels and spin-offs when it comes to Pixar movies, because some believe it's just a way to cash on pre-existing characters with low-effort plot lines. But as we know, despite a few bad examples, Cars 2 anyone, Pixar sequels can perform very well. Take for example the Toy Story series, which begs the question, why not Lightyear? Let's talk about Lightyear's stats. Lightyear made a decent $225 million at the global box office, and those of you unfamiliar with Pixar's usual records might be sitting and wondering why this is considered a bad reception on Pixar's behalf. But just to compare the two, Toy Story 4, another movie set in the same universe, made over $1 billion globally. This massive difference, especially when it concerns an original spin-off versus the fourth part of a pre-existing series, does speak a ton. The movie, set within the Toy Story lore, attempted to dig into Buzz Lightyear as a fictional character from the movie, and very much enjoyed it, as opposed to the Buzz Lightyear we know to be a toy. His solo movie has little to do with toys, and focuses on being a time travel sci-fi adventure that sees the title hero trying to find a way home after becoming abandoned on an inhospitable planet with his Star Command crew. This was Pixar's first release in theaters after 2020, as most movies released by Pixar have been released on the shared Disney Plus streaming platform. Strange thing is that while Lightyear performed fairly poorly when it came to financial statistics, the reviews garnered by the movie were very positive, more often than not. That too by both critics and viewers. What's particularly been praised most in this adventure movie has been its use of colorful animation and its entertaining storyline. On the movie website Rotten Tomatoes, the movie is certifiably rated to be fresh, with a critical rating of 75% and an audience score of 84%. This, while below all Toy Story movies, is a respectable score nonetheless. Now let's talk about the first reason why the movie performed terribly. Well, as it turns out, many people believe the movie's terrible box office scores are the direct result of Disney Plus's involvement with the movie. You see, well before we say the rise in streaming problems on the internet, which is a problem in its own right, we definitely aren't going into it right now. People would have to wait months on end to watch a Disney or Pixar movie out of theaters. So for example, a Marvel movie like Infinity War or Civil War would usually be released in theaters only, driving people to the cinema to watch the movies, since that was their only chance to watch the movies. A Blu-ray or an HD version of the movie would be available months later. Now that every Disney-associated movie is released onto the platform within 6 weeks of theatrical release, Marvel or Pixar, the 6-week wait period doesn't seem nearly as daunting for a movie people might just be casually interested in. The accessibility of watching the movie at home and the cost reduction meant that many families were content with just waiting for the movie to be released on Disney Plus. To further prove this reason plausible, it was revealed in recently revealed viewing figures that 1.7 million households watched Lightyear in its first 5 days on Disney Plus. Perhaps also a dirty game at play. Another reason why the movie probably didn't get as much hype as it usually would have have has to do with Disney gatekeeping theatrical releases behind a paywall on Disney Plus. Let us explain. So we know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, a bunch of movies were released on streaming services as a means to earn money on production despite the lack of theaters. Disney did a similar thing with movie shootings, following strict COVID protocols. Then they'd release the highly anticipated movies, but they do so behind an additional paywall to get access to it. Examples of these include Mulan and Marvel's Black Widow. And it's not like the same thing didn't happen with Pixar movies in production. A bunch of Pixar movies were released on the platform as well. Take, for example, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, except they weren't released with a paywall. They were treated like basic movies released as any standard low-budget Disney Plus movie would be treated. And believe it or not, that kind of unenthusiastic marketing can kill any excitement that people may have for upcoming projects. So effectively, the brand's reputation has taken a bit of a hit. Next up, voicing issues maybe? Originally, Tim Allen voiced Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, giving him his casual, hilarious charm that's hard to effortlessly duplicate. And having Lightyear be voiced by someone other than Tim Allen might have upset a few dedicated fans who are very specific about a character remaining the same throughout their arc. Lore-wise, it just doesn't make sense that you and the fictional character the toy is supposedly based on don't sound the same. And it's not like having someone other than Allen, like Chris Evans, voice Buzz Lightyear is what set the movie up for failure, obviously. The movie's fate definitely didn't reside on who would voice the character, but it was disappointing to see Tim Allen not return as the character. Evans, despite being a wonderful actor, didn't exactly add any hype to the movie or its plot. But why wasn't Allen hired? Well, the decision to pick Evans over him was not made public, but we do know that it's a bit strange, even within the movie lore, to not have Allen himself voice the character. Next up is a very compelling reason. No one asked for it. Setting Lightyear up as a movie that would finally reveal Buzz Lightyear's origin wasn't exactly smart marketing on Pixar's part, given that Buzz isn't much of a mysterious character at all. In fact, his origin story was already revealed in the movie Toy Story 2. So in essence, marketing this movie to be a whole fiasco that one would want to anticipate at all was a big load of because when it comes down to it, despite the movie's admittedly good storytelling, no one really asked for it. While Buzz is a very beloved character from the franchise, he's not the most popular character from the franchise because of his history as a space ranger. You see, it's his characterization as a toy, his arc of learning to be part of a team he never expected to be a part of. That's what makes him such a dear character to so many. Toy Story 2 gave Buzz a very Star Wars-esque history, where the evil Emperor Zurg is revealed to be Buzz Lightyear's father. And believe it or not, Buzz's origin movie, Lightyear, retcons this reveal with a much less satisfying twist. While the movie added well-deserved bittersweetness and nuance to the character, it wouldn't be a lie to say that it wasn't wholly necessary at all. Finally, Buzz Lightyear needs a Woody. Another misconception on Pixar's part here was assuming that fans would want to see a story based on a single character from the Toy Story universe. They assumed that Woody and the rest of the gang aren't all necessary to create hype when it comes to a Toy Story spin-off. One of the best parts of the Toy Story movies, and the top reason for its wide success, is the found family trope that it leans into. The heart-wrenching story of this mismatched group of toys finding solace in one another when they come from very different backgrounds, that's what makes the stories and adventures so special. And with Lightyear not catering to that, the hype was reasonably enough absent. And that's all for this video. What did you think of Lightyear flopping at the box office? Was it justified? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by pressing the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.